Followed by Mayor Lindsay. What's that?
I didn't know if I want public participation and I want to speak on one of the consent agenda items, but I'll talk fast.
Okay.
Okay, starting now. First of all, Mayor and Commissioners, I am so proud of all our Lake Worth Neighborhood Association. They were all unbelievably accessible in the REAP grants that they applied for. 6 neighborhood associations along with the NAPC are responsible for bringing in a total of $15,500 in grant money. Then in addition to that, I got a lot to go here. $7,800 was awarded to what we consider our nonprofit partners, including Jeannie Fernsworth and the gardens that are going to be put at South Grade Elementary. Neighbors Helping Neighbors and the Cottages of Lake Worth were also successful in their grant application. Altogether, the City of Lake Worth Neighborhood Association and our nonprofit partners walked away with over $23,000, which is significant when you understand that $81,000 was the total amount of grant money that was awarded to all of Palm Beach County. So yay, Lake Worth. Is this good time to speak about the consent agenda items too?
Yes.
All right, also, this is to, and I'll have copies for all of you. Dear Mayor and Commissioners and City Manager Mike Bornstein, the Neighborhood Association President's Council has, by a unanimous vote of the Council on March 1, 2014, authorized and directed me as Chair of the NAPC to express the Council's enthusiastic support of a baseball spring training facility in John Prince Park. The Council recognizes the very positive and measurable economic impact this facility could bring to our city, as well as the immeasurable enhancement to our city image. We applaud the city's initiative in making these overtures to bring Lake Worth closer to the economic vitality we all desire. At this initial stage of exploration and concept development, the Council also fully supports the sharing of information as it becomes available regarding this important opportunity in as timely a manner as possible with all the neighborhood associations, and especially with those neighbors in close proximity to John Prince Park, as they are most directly impacted should this project move forward. To facilitate the flow of information between our neighbors and our city on matters of consequence is the mission of our neighborhood associations, and the NAPC stands ready to assist in this important exchange in any way we can. A more formal letter of support for this project from the NAPC to the County Board of Commissioners has also been authorized by the Council of Presidents and will be presented to the County Commissioners later this week. On behalf of the Neighborhood Association President's Council, I remain at your service, Mary Lindsay, NAPC Chair.
Okay. Trip, COC. Followed by Jennifer Marshall.
Good evening. Good evening. Okay, so a baseball park. It's no easy task in the proposed location. And many of you may already know, but because there's deed restrictions on that land, I'd just like to read to you just for a moment. On that land, it says that should the land be used for any other purpose other than a park or forest, title to the land reverts back to the state. So it's not just Palm Beach County, we'll need the state on board as well. So in the favor of quick fixes, let's say, perhaps the city could give Major League Baseball a 100-year lease on the golf course. And while you're at it, maybe throw in Bryant Park. And then you could revitalize the downtown, you could get the Gulfstream Hotel back in business, you have traffic coming to the beach, a lot more action there. So, if the city is in love with this concept of a stadium that will just really help the city, perhaps we'll see the golf course and Bryant Park on the next consent agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Followed by Peter Tim. Both.
I'm Jennifer Marshall. I was the founder of Rollo, our neighborhood association 8 years ago.
Speak up, please.
Which one?
Just take the one.
Okay. I founded Rollo, the neighborhood association 8 years ago, was actually president of that. I was also on the financial advisory board for the city. I urge the commission to vote no to this resolution considering John The proposed stadium does not solve Lake Worth's problems. It's a distraction from real issues, which is code enforcement, reducing financial dependency on utilities, repairing the streets. Let me clarify a few misconceptions. The proposed stadium will not increase the values to the surrounding areas. Our area is not something where we need to have a stadium next to it. Who wants to live next to a stadium with the noise, traffic, the lights, the disturbance? I worked for 4 years with the city to silence train horns on CSX lines, for 4 years to do that, so we would not have 100 trains going through a day and hearing that. And now you're gonna increase the noise dramatically with something like this, which is ridiculous. The stadium will not cure the city's blight. We do not have blight on the western side of the community. Blight is found on the lettered streets, where code enforcement needs to be more involved. This is like putting your foot in a cast and hoping it will cure a broken arm. We are not blighted on the west side of the community. The stadium will create property tax revenue for the city of Lake Worth. No way. The city will not receive any property tax revenue from this. The proposed location is not even in the city's jurisdiction. And furthermore, this will have no impact on reducing our dependency on utility revenue to fund the general fund. And we know that is what is funding this city. The decision to put a stadium near the western side does not make sense. I have the right to the quiet entitlement of my home. Please vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Peter Tim, followed by Oscar Santello.
Peter Tim, yes, I was going to talk on your speech over there, but then I looked at the consent agenda and I found several things on here that needed some explanation. First of all, the contract with Matthews for $53,713, and that is funded by GBD funds, but it's still an awful lot of money. As to issue a revocable permit for property at 1501 North L Street for a 20-year lease so they can put in a vegetable garden or maybe park a car there. I don't know whether that is the street that you are talking about or the alley that you are talking about, whether it is on a corner. If it's a street, do you mean everybody can plant stuff in it? Or if you impose it to one, you've got to approve it for everybody. You just can't pick and choose the people. If it's the alley, once again, those alleys are public right of ways. The telephone company uses them, the city uses them with their trucks for the poles and everything else. And once again, if you're going to do it for one, you must do it for everybody. And I don't think you should. Now, years ago, was going to plant corn on my front lawn when we had a different commission that wanted us to plant vegetables. So I thought corn and tomatoes would go good. But I have since changed my mind, and I don't want anybody else to grow this stuff either. As to the domestic partnership, getting a tax entity, they'll get $500, something to do with medical for the employees. It makes absolutely no sense to me, and maybe you could make sense of it for me. Because I think if everybody's going to get $500 because they're domestic partners, it just doesn't make sense. And that's for the baseball time. I agree with the last speaker. It's a very good idea, but it's not in Lake Worth. It's outside of Lake Worth. I don't know where you intend to put it. The only place I can see is 6th Avenue South, and that is very congested, and I don't think there is room for it. And I gotta go over in 3 minutes.
Thank you. Oscar Santello, followed by Dale Hewlin. Oscar? No? Dale? Dale? As a comment, your baseball would be great for Lake Worth. Nadine Burns, followed by Mike Hill.
Good evening. I thought that consent item got moved to new business.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is that correct?
Which item?
The revocable permit for.
C was moved to new business.
It was moved to new
Can we
business.
speak about
Oh,
it then or no?
No, next.
Oh, okay.
That's, thank you, I'll hold on to that, thanks. Raymond Gonzalez, Goncalves, I'm sorry. Okay, Mike Hill, followed by Mary Ellen Healy.
Hey, hi, how's everybody doing? 3 questions. What are we gonna do about our junk cars? They're all over the place. I counted 10 today that have expired tanks for over a year and a half. Some are missing pieces, like no hood, no engine, 4 flat tires. That's number one. Why can't we use the jail trustees to clean up these abandoned houses? Instead of having the jail trustees use to mulch or whatever that city workers get paid to do, use the jail trustees to say, hey, let's spend 5 hours on this house today. And it would look a lot better. You have 200 houses or 2,000 houses. You have 5 inmates. Every day they do a different house. And why are the balances up still between the downtown pizza and CJ's restaurant? I talked to your office the other day. Whatever, they were supposed to be down last Friday. They're still up. Is it a temporary thing or is it permanent?
We answer at the end, I'm sorry, Mike.
Okay, no, I'm just putting it out there. Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. Mary Ellen Healy and Vincent Cerniglia. Otherwise known as Milton.
Yeah, we have trouble separating. And it's our comment on the proposed spring training park. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Join us. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back. So let's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. 'Cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Like you mean it. Take me out to the crowd. Let me hear ya. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, 'cause it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. 'Cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
That's a first. Dave Palumbo, followed by Dustin Zacks.
Good evening. I am here as one of the business owners downtown in full support of the spring training facility. The economic impact that it can bring the area is just staggering. We've built a lot of momentum now with the beach being done, with it being open. I think bringing a facility like this to town would definitely put us over the top. I was going to stand here and tell you about the economic impact. We all know what it is. It's staggering amounts for businesses, hotels, property values, everything.
Quiet in the chambers, please.
But I was at the restaurant today, and a gentleman came in and presented me with a plaque, and it was for sponsoring one of the basketball teams this past season. And he said when he first got here, the baseball program had over 1,200 kids in it. Right now, they're down to approximately 700, and that was in the short 13, 14 years. Bringing a facility like this, affecting the youth of this town, I think that's even more than the economic impact. I think the kids need something like this. I mean, it would just be staggering, just for the kids of this town to have an activity for them to be able to do something like this. Thank you.
Thank you. This one I think is item 9E. Is that? Okay, just take a look at that. Greg Rice? It's something to read, but it's the wrong item. You have 2, Greg. This one goes to the other one too. You're confusing me, city manager. Greg Rice is going to be followed by Ms. Sharp.
Greg Rice of Lucerne. I want to start out by congratulating, I know we won't have a chance to do this Thursday night, all of you on earning another term as our leaders in the community. Elections and the election process in Lake Worth is something to watch. It's more than a blood sport. It's ought to be on ESPN or either Comedy Central. And to think for the first time in my recent memory that we are going through a year with no election, I think sends a mandate not only to the city but to the county and the surrounding communities as well, that we're finally starting to get a little stability. And it's because of all of you and your efforts. Apparently, everybody thinks you guys are doing a swell job because nobody, not one person, thought that they could help drive the bus any better than those of you that are driving the bus right now. So I want to thank you. Thank you all so much for that, because it's important to me. As I often say, I walk around the community, not just here locally, but around Palm Beach County as well, and I hear all about all the things that Lake Worth is either supposedly doing right or doing wrong, and for once I'm not hearing the comments that I used to hear about some of the things that were connected to some of the political processes that we have. So my hat's off to you, and also I know that property out west is not Lake Worth, but it would certainly impact. I remember when they opened up the West Palm Beach Municipal Ball Field, and my dad, who was a janitor at an elementary school, didn't have a lot of money, but it was an affordable recreation pursuit for us that if it wouldn't have been there, I probably wouldn't have had a chance to participate in it. And Dave, yeah, I wanted to play ball too, but I was picked as second base, not the position. Oh, you guys laugh. I got clean marks so you wouldn't believe. But I do hope that we can pursue and work with the county on trying to find a suitable home so we don't lose baseball here in Florida. It all goes to Arizona.
Shop 1311 South Conway. I have 3 cards in.
I know, what is that?
Well, I tried to get your attention to ask, do we have one chance under non-agenda and consent, or do we have 3 chances?
One chance, and it's been like that way since we adopted it.
Well, it wasn't
Okay.
you when you adopted it.
Okay. No
No
problem.
problem. Now I'm going to talk fast. I agree with Mr. Timms on cleaning up the road at 1500 North Avenue, because the guy wants to park a car and he doesn't even live in the city of Lake Worth. He lives in West Palm Beach. So he wants to park the car, wants you to give up half the street so he has someplace to park the car. I'm totally against that, totally against that. Number 2, the ball fields. Well, we didn't have a ball field in Portland, Maine, but we were big Red Sox fans. And we used to drive an hour once a week during the season to Boston to watch the Red Sox play. And I don't know what it did for the economy of Boston, because there's so much going on in Boston, but I know what it did for the kids. And it really, really helped the kids to have a ball field run. Now, I know you don't own John Prince Park, and I know you're not asking them to help you build a ball field there. But I'd like to see where they're going to build it. I'd like to know what corner it's going on. And I have no problem with your resolution asking them to go forward. And I forgot what the third one was, but I wouldn't know it unless I looked at the agenda. So I'm going to be very important to begin with.
Okay, Mr. Zaks, this one was the right card, is that what you said? Okay. He wants me to read this. Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners and Mr. Tim, I rise in absentia of item 9E, and I apologize for not being present, but as you all know, Tuesday night is Hockey League night. As I interpret the wording of this resolution, it appears that we are merely saying that we are in favor of further explorations of the possibility of bringing baseball to our little town. And as we all know, there's nothing wrong with a little exploration and experimentation. I mean, we were in college once, right? just so you know. I do expect there will be substantial opposition tonight, but I urge my fellow townies to take a step back and consider the best and worst possible outcomes of this process. At worst, we will be subject to a long, divisive, and drawn-out process, after which the commission will just vote the way it wants anyway. Every time I ponder the failures of the beach, I'm reminded of this ugly insipidness. Two-way traffic, no tenant upstairs, cats everywhere. That's a long story. Yet I have faith that this commission, should this scheme get beyond the exploratory phase, will hear and consider the voice of the entire community. And at best, by contrast, we could have a new attraction in town of which we have precious few that are known to the populace at large. Lastly, let me say I believe I'm speaking on behalf of many of the under a certain age crowd when I rise in support of this resolution. I suspect that many opponents of this resolution will be, shall we say, a bit more seasoned than I. Let me remind them that part of the fun of living in Lake Worth is being open-minded, accepting, and receptive to change. This resolution embraces possibilities, and it's for that reason that I support it. I would also support exploring High Light or a hockey arena, but I digress. Dustin, thanks. He makes me read it, he doesn't do it himself. Okay, this one also, Dawn Saylor. Do you want me to read this? This gives families a great positive way to spend time together, keeps the young players off the streets and focused to meet their goals of becoming professionals themselves. This also brings lots of work and money to the city. Peter LaPredi. Oh, please, yeah, come on up.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Peter LaPredi, and I've been a resident of this beautiful city for the past 5 years. I'm here tonight on the parking issue situation with Doug Nichols. I'm not sure whether I understood Commissioner Zerbe's motion prior to this, but I understand that probably is to ask the city manager to probably review the parking restrictions and situation and possibly bring a report back to the commission. If that is the situation, then I think that this is what we want as residents. As you know, Madam Mayor, many of us come from different parts of the country, from New York, from Massachusetts, even as far as from cold Canada, and we love the city. We, some people think that this is our second home. For many of us, this is our first home. We really love the city, we love the neighborhoods, we love the people that are here. And so, to make it difficult for us to go to the beach and enjoy such a beautiful place that we don't have, it is disheartening and disappointing. And I hope that the Commission will serve this understanding or amendment will be carried, because it makes us much more at ease by enjoying the facilities that we have here. I know that it takes possibly a motion in council or further deliberations, but we truly trust that if you can give us an opportunity to compute and to be heard, it would be very much appreciated. So I don't know what the process is and what it will be, so we hope that either Commissioner Zerbe or the city clerk could give us some sort of understanding of where we go from here, so that the group that are here tonight and they're here because of this specific issue will be knowledgeable of what the next steps will be and how to make the proper representation. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
And Robert Hodge put a card in reference, bring the Astros and Nationals to Lake Worth. This is a great idea. It'll bring more jobs to Lake Worth, keep baseball alive in a child's eye. Remember, the children are the future. Please keep them in mind. Also, it will help the economy. Phil Spinelli, followed by Katie McGivern.
Phil Spinelli, Harvard Drive. I would like to reiterate what we said earlier. You guys are doing a great job. I'd like to see the way it's going. That's why I'm not getting as involved as I used to, because I know we have good captains steering the ship in the right direction. I'm in favor of the baseball field. I think it would be an asset and attraction. I think it would be a major asset for the city. It would connect not only our beach, our golf course, our downtown, but the west side of the community also. I have a lot of friends who live near or right next to Roger Dean Stadium. They have never had a problem with noise. They've never had a problem with traffic, and they have smaller roads than we do leading to that area. So I don't see a major impact on any of the surrounding neighborhoods. I think we should continue to pursue it. Thank you.
I'm Katie McGivern, Vice President of the Rollo neighborhood that will be impacted by this suggested stadium site. I was elected to represent the people of Western Lake Worth. It's disturbing to me that no one, and I mean no one from the city, has contacted me or the president of our neighborhood association, Robert Waples, about this issue. This very premature resolution of support for the stadium complex is the perfect example of why this city is in the mess that it is in. How many times are our elected officials going to join hands and take a running leap over the cliffs of ignorance into the arrogant unknown? I am most disappointed by my fellow neighborhood associations. They should be standing in support with the Rollo neighborhood. Before giving their endorsement of this proposal, they should have asked some tough questions about the actual impacts of this proposal. The attitude should be what affects one neighborhood affects us all. Yesterday, I placed a call and left a message to my District 1 representative, Scott Maxwell, concerning this issue. He never returned my call. I attempted to get an appointment with Commissioner Andy Amoroso. No luck. He was booked. I guess he couldn't spare a phone call to the vice president of the neighborhood. Mayor Pam Triolo picked up when I called her personal line, but I told her to hang up. I was going to call her city number as this was a city issue. Mayor Triolo never returned my call. Commissioner McVoy did return my call and talk with me. Cheap giveaways and other shiny objects should not be a distraction from the neighborhood concerns. We ask that our elected officials pay more attention to the very real concerns of very real families than they do an ill-advised pipe dream pushed by a disgraced ex-congressman turned lobbyist. As far as the beach parking issue, we have 50 resident spaces. 1,332 people have bought decal tags. I don't think we can shove in any more people into those spaces. And you know, what don't you guys understand about the word resident? Thank you. Thank you.
Terry Brockovich, followed by Shannon Materio.
Well, if it wasn't for baseball, I probably wouldn't be here today. I played ball. I played a lot of ball. Broken fingers, knees, you name it. There is a fact that there will be an economic impact to this community if we get in. As far as lights, you know, if you look at the schedule up at Abacoa, 2 ball teams play 37 games up there. 1 game is at night. That's it. All of them start at 1:05. They're over by 4. There's no traffic up there, you know, rush hour going in or in the morning going out. So there's a lot of arguments, you know, you can make. That is not an argument you can make. As far as the state land, you know, if it goes over to the state, we can work with the state and negotiate, and I think it can come true. I postponed my honeymoon. I was married last night at 7 o'clock. You're an old sucker, man. But please, this is a resolution to support and to look forward. Let's look outside the box instead of being so narrow-minded and looking at what we have in those parking spaces up the beach. I'm the big complainer about the spaces. I've gone up there many, many, many times. I've had no problem with parking.
Shannon Materio, followed by Teresa Miller.
Thank you. Shannon Materio, North Dixie Highway. Mayor and Commissioners, City Manager, I want to thank you for considering the work that is going to go into flushing out all of the information that you're going to have to learn and work through to even have this consideration on the table. I understand you're going to be working with the county, you'll have to work with the state. Neither of those things are very easy to do, but so worth being able to have the information to make the good decision that I know that you will make, and I trust that you will. And of course, this has a wonderful economic impact. But what I like about it more than that is the fact that this is a family-oriented opportunity. This is not, this is exactly what Lake Worth needs, and this is the perfect timing to have this conversation about the future of Lake Worth. And I'm frankly going to tell you that I'm jealous, because I really want this, I want to have this conversation. But I love Lake Worth, and as you all know, my husband Phil and I have a big stake in the city, and as many of you commissioners know, I always try to consider Lake Worth as much as I consider West Palm Beach when I'm making political decisions myself, because it's my sister city. And it's not just because we have a business here, but I have to tell you, you have much more fun at your commission meetings.
Thank you, Commissioner Matterio. Sorry, I didn't give her official title for the invitation. Teresa Miller, followed by Marty Wellfeld.
I bet you don't know where I stand on baseball. First of all, thank you for the mention of the cottages of Lake Worth, and if I can just give a quick pitch on that, we're working madly on the website and the maps. It should be done. And also thank you for mentioning Sound of Music. It's audience participation. It's all the stuff you're never allowed to do in the movie theater without getting thrown out. If you want to sing, we'll have confetti for the wedding. We'll have lights to help them find their way away from the Nazis. Come, enjoy. Finally, I'm assuming the sale. I spent my life in sales, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm assuming it's going to happen. Everybody is invited to join me to become a Lake Worth bleacher bum. Bleacher bum. I come from Wrigley Field. We sat in the last row for all the games, cried a lot, drank beer, ate popcorn, had a great time. Let's hope it happens here. Thank you.
Marty Wellfeld, followed by John Rinaldi.
Marty Wellfeld, North Lakeside Drive, same place she lives. Even though my basic instincts are to be confrontational, I'm going to try to suppress that this evening. And to say this, I lived a block and a half from Wrigley Field in Chicago. I had all the people from all the games go past my house. I had the issue of the lights at Wrigley Field that was fought for really no reason at all. And I want to say this. We have done so many things in Lake Worth that have turned out right. We got the new Publix in. We got the beach open. We have Bradley's at the golf course. We have PBSO. We have Palm Beach Fire Rescue. We're working on a bunch of other things, and now we have a new opportunity put in front of us. Having said that, I do believe it's very important to give this the same scrutiny and wise examination that we have done from the dais and in the community on all these other issues. This is a big one. If we do it wrong, we screw it up. If we do it right, it's wonderful. Let's hear it for examining this. Everybody's talking about the huge mistake that's being made. Look at the resolution. It's examine the potential for doing this. I think that's what we need to do. Thank you very much.
John Rinaldi, followed by Peggy Fisher.
John Rinaldi, 109 North Golfview. In a few weeks, I'm scheduled to do a presentation on the Planning and Zoning Board's activities in the past 6 months. I can tell you that things are really, really slow. Our February meeting was canceled. Our March meeting was canceled. We may meet in April, I don't know. But if you look at the economics and what's happening in the city of Lake Worth, we're not booming, folks. Things are not good. We're starting to see the signs of things coming in, but they're not here yet. And the perception of the city of Lake Worth is so important right now, because if businesses are going to invest here and come here, they want to see that perception of how this community deals with business, how it deals with the economics. And if we start out saying, no, this can't happen, then we send a message out to every business that, you know, to work in Lake Worth is difficult. And that's been what's been our history for the last 10 years or so. So it's really important that we look at how we deal with this, so that the perception is that you want to come to Lake Worth, you want to open a business, yes, you're going to be scrutinized. Yes, we're going to listen to our residents. We want to make sure that every neighborhood is protected as best we can. But we're going to look at the interests of the entire city before we make a decision. Excuse me. So that's really important to me as a business owner here in the city. We need economic development. We need a tax base. We need help. The reason there's no businesses on Dixie Highway that are growing is because there's no traffic on Dixie Highway to support new business to come in. If traffic starts to come down those streets, then maybe we can get a business to open up, a national chain, something that could come in and really bring jobs and economic prosperity. That would be great. And finally, in closing, we mentioned Marion Weber. She did so much for the Street Painting Festival. Her dad passed away on Saturday. And even during the Street Painting Festival, when he was ill, she was out there working. And there's not that many people that I know who would put the city's efforts and all the work that she did, even with the family issues that she had. And I really think we need to recognize her in the city. Thank you very much.
Peggy Fisher, 508 North A Street. I grew up in West Palm Beach, and my love for baseball started with the municipal baseball complex that is now gone, and I guess now it's Home Depot. But it was a training facility for 2 major league teams.
The Leaky Teepee.
Well, that was next door to the Leaky Teepee. But I spent lots of hours at that facility and enjoyed it immensely, and that carried over to when I took my daughter as a season ticket holder for the Atlanta Braves to baseball, and she's now a baseball fan. I think this is very important for our community, for the municipalities around us, for Palm Beach County. And I find nothing offensive about the resolution to explore these possibilities. I think that is something you as our representatives need to do on our behalf. And so I totally support that. As far as the parking at the beach, I've been there many times when there have been hardly any cars in the residence parking. But we need to remember that that quantity of parking spaces was negotiated with the county as part of getting $5 million from the county, and that was done by basically the majority of another commission and other people than those here. So we sort of have to live with what we agreed to and make the best of it. But again, I have no problem finding a place to park at the beach when I want to go, or if I walk over the bridge and go that way. Thank you.
I've got all the cards. Did I miss anybody? Okay, thank you.
I'm trying to find the actual language of it when I downloaded it yesterday.
Commissioner Zerdy?
Sure. Well, to clarify something, I guess, quickly on the beach decal, it's really for us to talk about the idea next time. And as a part of the process, we'll bring that ordinance up to see if we can come up with a potential amendment. And just, I'm just one person up here, so I wanted to mention that tonight. I listened to a number of you all out there to do that. I also I have decal myself. I've really never had a problem going across the bridge there and finding a place to park. Whether it's 11, 12, 13, 1400, everybody takes their chance. That's certainly a lot more than 50 spaces. So we all know that if there's not a spot to park there with that many people, then we'll park somewhere else, or ride a bike, or walk. I'm all for looking at a very wholesome opportunity to look at baseball being in our backyard here. I know that there's a lot of critical situations involved with using an open field or an open park facility like it is. There's a lot to consider, but there's many, many things that can come of that, especially even not just for the kids, but when you have that kind of facility, you have other tournaments and you bring in a lot of scouts, and a lot of things come of that opportunity all year round. The venue is to be used in that. So I think that that's something that if it would work, We certainly would have more of a demand for people coming in and having a trolley service. If there's that much more, we could probably get a lot more action going up and down through our downtown into the beach, back and forth, and that would make a big difference to a lot of our businesses in here as well. So I know that for myself, we will weigh all of the options here and carefully look at that as opportunities present.
Commissioner Mercer?
A couple things. Katie has already left the room, but I'm going to go ahead and ask the questions. Mary, on behalf of the President's Council, did all presidents sign off on that, including Rollo?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it was the Rollo representative who made the motion
To accept it and to move forward.
to ask the president to do that.
Okay, and Katie did call my office requesting an appointment, but I'm booked 2 or 3 weeks in advance because that's what I do on behalf of the citizens. She never called me. If she would have called me, I always pick up my phone. Quite a few people in the audience get me 2 or 3 times a day, so you know that happens, but no one ever called me. I just wanted to go on the record there. And then also, Mike Hill, I believe he left too. There is a process for boarding up. You know, I have no problem with PBSO bringing the prisoners to actually do board up and secure. But if you remember, this commission and the mayor has moved forward with new ordinances working with PBSO to board up and secure. But we're actually doing it with a company. There's quite a few laws involved. Unlike the neighborhood and President's Council and the groups that went out and cleaned up a property this last weekend, which thank you very much. We are, as a city, we cannot do that. There's quite a few laws that come into play with both PBSO and the city. So as we move forward with our ordinances and our board up procedures, we'll look at possibly doing that. But right now, we're looking at outsourcing that to companies that actually do it professionally. And we need receipts, we need a process, because it's the legal way to do it. So we are moving forward with that. We put money into those funds to address that. But unfortunately, Mr. Hill's not here to get that response.
Commissioner McBoy?
Yeah, I feel like I'm in the hot seat. And the reason is, I'm going to speak out against not only apple pie and motherhood, but baseball. And what I want to say is, a lot of folks stepped up to say we should do this. We should have a baseball stadium and baseball fields. And it's pretty hard to find anything to dislike about baseball. All of my nieces and nephews travel great distances to baseball camps. I'm fine with it. I even played baseball, and I'm not, that sort of direction, all that much. I have no problem with baseball whatsoever. I don't know how much it would help economically. Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. My concern is that in our enthusiasm to see only good and dollar signs and benefits to kids and all those things, which may well all be accurate, I feel like there's a little bit of a running roughshod over people who may have some very valid concerns. People who have bought homes here not that far from John Prince Park, who bought their homes with the idea that John Prince Park was in perpetuity an open space and not a stadium. Or people who just didn't expect to have all of the traffic and the things that go with the stadium right next to them. At this point, I am not in a possession of enough information to know whether the concerns are a big deal, a medium deal, maybe they're not a big deal at all. I'm very grateful to, forget who it was, but somebody mentioned and done the research that at Roger Dean, out of 30-odd games, one of them's evening and the rest of them are afternoon. Well, that's solid, helpful information that lets people think about, hell, some games in the afternoon, I think we can deal with that. And I'm very sensitive to the concept of this is a very family-oriented thing, it's a good thing for kids. I would just like to suggest that at the same time we have Section 2 that says the City Commission hereby strongly supports the continued exploration and development of John Prince Park as a location for a Major League Baseball franchise, that we simply add in an additional section before we go and put this out that says something to the effect that the City Commission hereby declares their clear and firm support of reaching out to the communities addressing the concerns, doing the research, and making sure that the benefits are in fact something that everybody wants, or not everybody, I mean, obviously you won't get it 100%, but that the concerns are taken seriously and balanced against the future benefits. I'd like to see an additional section in there to that effect, and then I'm perfectly fine to support it.
Commissioner Vice Mayor?
Thank you. I'm not really sure where to start, other than to tell you that since this whole initiative came public, I know I've spoken to hundreds of people in the last 2 or 3, hundreds of people about this. And I will tell you that in my 25 years of living in the city of Lake Worth, I have never seen such a heightened level of excitement and that feeling of goodness that I've felt in the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's almost changed my life, and I mean that. You know, I think it was Greg Rice who was talking about how he's so used to hearing people, you know, with the negatives and things about Lake Worth, but you know what? Things are, you know, the perception of our community is changing. It really is changing. And when this opportunity came along, and I thought, well, geez, you know, one of our neighbors to the north may have, you know, talk about swinging and missing on a breaking ball here, but the ball fell in our lap. And I think that we need to explore it. And that's really what this resolution does. All we're saying to the county commission, all we're asking the county commission to do is recognize that if they're willing to explore it, if it's a viable site, if there's buy-in from Major League Baseball, and there's buy-in from the communities, we're here to support that. The problem is, if nobody steps up, if our communities don't step up, the county commission very well just may say, you know what, we're not gonna take it up. The reality of it is, and here's some inside baseball, pardon all the baseball funds, but there's a very real possibility that if Major League Baseball does not expand its spring training somewhere here in Palm Beach County, we very well may lose what's going on in Jupiter. The Cardinals and the Marlins very well may leave Jupiter in Palm Beach County. And in my humble opinion, if that happens, it may be a very long time before Major League Baseball comes back and approaches Palm Beach County. Now, again, the economic impact of the sports industry and the tourism in Palm Beach County is unbelievable. It's hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars. When people think about tourism in Florida, they often think about the beaches or golf courses or Disney World or whatever, cruises. But we often overlook, because we're so blessed to live here and we're immersed in it so much with sports, we overlook the value that sports brings to Palm Beach County. Okay, so as an elected representative, you've heard me say for years, we have got to make Lake Worth open for business. We've got to show the world that we're willing to say yes, we're willing to embrace good ideas, responsible ideas. Okay? I've heard a few people say, well, this is the evil developer. This is not about developers. This is about the all-American pastime. This is about, you know, a community uplifting itself, having its image transformed to some large extent. This is about creating jobs for an area that really could use some jobs. Not just during the spring, but year-round. This is about creating economic growth for Central Palm Beach County. And again, I want to go back a couple of steps. This isn't all about Lake Worth. This is about the Central Palm Beach County area. If you look at Palm Beach County as a whole, if you want to call it a donut, we're kind of like that donut hole when it comes to economic development and economic prosperity. What better opportunity would there be to close that donut hole, to fill that gap with some professional sports? And I've heard folks talk about when they were a kid, I never saw a professional baseball game or a professional athlete since I went to college. I never had that opportunity. But how cool would it be for all of our young folks who may never ever have the financial resources to go to Miami to watch the Marlins, be able to spend a few dollars less that maybe their parents can scratch together and go to spring training. I could talk about this ad nauseum, and I won't bore you to tears. But I will tell you this, I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of people, there's a lot of excitement, and I do apologize to Ms. McGivern for not returning her phone call, but I will tell you, of those who spoke out against the issue tonight, I've had conversations with each and every one of those individuals on some level over the last 2 weeks. So I'm very much in touch with those who are concerned about this, and every initiative, every proposal that we ever take up in this city is gonna have folks that will be concerned about it because there's unintended consequences, and we recognize that. Our responsibility is to weigh everything and see if it's the best for the community. So in the end, I'm gonna vote for this. I'm voting for jobs, I'm voting for economic development, I'm voting for an enhancement of Central Palm Beach County's image, but more importantly, I'm voting for the success of our city. So thank you all very much.
You know me, I can go off on a tangent forever, but I put some notes down here to address some of the comments that were made today, both for and against. I heard Abaco being mentioned. It's known as one of the most family-friendly communities in all of Palm Beach County. And if you think about it, it was a neighborhood that was designed and built around a baseball stadium. Let's repeat that. It was a neighborhood that was built around a baseball stadium. And they did that because of its All-American celebration of our favorite pastime. Parents who live in that neighborhood, they want their children to grow up in that kind of environment. They even play ball at the stadium, which, by the way, these stadiums also provide a myriad of programs for children and different types of events and ball games and different types of things that happen. Why should Lake Worth miss any opportunity to bring joy and opportunity to our families, to our children, and grow a family-friendly experience while our city benefits? Our children struggle more than almost every other city in all of Palm Beach County. And this is our chance to do something to enhance their lives and give them opportunities that always seem to end up in some other city. But not now. Look at Delray Beach. We're not comparing to Delray Beach. But years ago, Atlantic Avenue, east of 95, had so much of the same blight issues that we have here in the city of Lake Worth. That tennis stadium that they put up there on Atlantic, that put them on the map and started to bring in tourism to their area and help them grow their city in the way that they wanted to grow. But it was sports. This is a ball field, a ballpark on a ball field, basically. And again, it's not within our city limits. But yes, we will be impacted by it. And most importantly, the deal is moving quickly. And I understand that. And that's unfortunate when something like an opportunity like this comes and happens. But when the opportunity of a lifetime comes around, one that so many people in this community has only dreamed of before, ever, you jump. I'm in support of this. Okay, we've got, that is the public participation of non-agenda items and consent agenda. Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1. Let's take a break and we'll come back with item C.